Welcome to another fingernail fixer video. I've been asked to do the little sneakers with shellac. I've had several requests ever since I did the blog about Pinterest inspired nail art. To start off with, we would have done cuticle work, shaping, and scrub fresh, then applied a thin layer of base coat and cured for 10 seconds. Now I'm going to come in and do a very thin layer of cream puff, making sure to leave a little extra room around the margin of the nail so that I'm going to be able to drop over the sides of that with my color. Make sure your cream puff is very, very thin so that it doesn't wrinkle. If you should get any on the skin, just clean it up with an orange wood stick or a stylus. We're going to cure that layer of cream puff for 2 minutes. Because you're going to want the tip of your sneaker to be a very bright white, we're going to go ahead and come in with a second layer of cream puff. And just because it's the second layer doesn't mean you can apply it thick. So make sure you do a nice thin layer. If you have trouble sealing the edge on short nails, don't be afraid to tip the nail back, pull the skin away, and push the shellac down over the edge to seal. This is really helpful for short bitten nails or even for toes. So I'm just going to come back in, preferably without my knuckle in the picture, and get a nice thin layer of the shellac on that nail. And then we're going to cure that for 2 minutes. The next part of the tennis shoe is adding the color. You can do all 5 nails a different color, you can do all 10 nails a different color, or you can do them all the same color. Whatever makes you happy. On this sample nail, I'm coming in with Hollywood, and I'm just going most of the way down the nail so that I don't have to clean it up off the entire end of the nail. You do want to make sure that you're getting it nice and thin, so don't be afraid to clean your brush off and come back in and remove any excess color. Then I'm going to take a detail, actually it's a flat art brush. You could also use your gel brush. I'm just using this flat brush for the corners. I'm going to put a little bit of alcohol on a pad, wipe my brush through the alcohol to get it wet and make it flexible, but then dry it off so that it doesn't bubble the shellac. Then I'm going to come in and carve out the little toe shape of the tennis shoe. Clean my brush off in the alcohol, dry it off, and then crisp it up to remove any streaking. You want to make sure that you go ahead and do this nail by nail, otherwise the shellac kind of dries a bit by the time you've applied a different color to every nail, and this part is much more difficult to do. So you want to go ahead and clean the toes off as soon as you apply the color to the nail. If you have a stubborn spot of color, see we have this little stubborn streak of color right here, what you can do is just rub your brush on that spot and it will remove it. Because we want nice crisp whites for our toes. Once I have this part done to all 5 nails of one hand, I'm going to come in with the stylus. You can call it an embossing tool, a dotting tool, basically a metal stick with a metal ball on the end. And I'm going to make the crisscross. So I'm going to start at one side and do a line, clean my tool, start at the other side and do a line going across, clean my tool, and then do the same thing right on top of that, clean the tool, and on top of that, and clean the tool. If you need to, you can come in and do any tweaking to make sure that your lines are even, and then we're going to cure this for 2 minutes. The finishing touches for our sneaker are going to be done in black. I'm just again going to take my very small stylus, so the little metal stick with the metal ball, and I'm going to dip it in a little bit of black pool. So I've got just a tiny bit of black pool on the end, and I'm going to do little parentheses around each end of the laces to make the look of the grommets. And I'm just barely touching some black pool on the end of that stylus to make it easier to control. Because if you get a big blob, it's harder to get that nice thin looking grommet. And I'm actually almost kind of tapping it on so that it comes off my stylus easier and thinner. And I'm curving around. So see how they have that rounded look? The next thing I'm going to do is that little smooth shape on the end of the toe. I'm going to wipe a very small detailed brush through some black pool, and starting over at one side, I'm just going to curve that little line for the toe of the sneaker, side to center. Then I'm going to pick up a little more black and do the same thing on the other side. Start at the side and come down and curve to the toe of the sneaker. If you want to, you can kind of come back in with your black and define it a little more. And if you happen to have a shaky hand or you're not steady-handed, you can come back in with that flat brush and see here how it's a little wider than the rest of it. I'm just going to take that brush just as if I were cleaning up a smile line and just crisp that spot up so it looks the way that I want it to. So these are very easy to detail and clean up when you're doing them with the shellac. We're going to cure this for 2 minutes. Then I would come in and apply a thin layer of top coat and cure it for 2 minutes and send them home with solar oil. Your shellac sneakers are done. Have a great time.